So race 2 of the 2017 Radical Challenge Championship from Donington Park, and it's the race 1 winner, number 21 Bradley Smith, that sits there on pole position alongside the blue and white car of Oliver Barker. And row 2 of the grid, the reigning champion Steve Burgess alongside championship returnee Harry Cockle in the red and yellow machine. The red lights are about to come on now, and as the revs rise, the lights go out. It's a great start from pole position from Bradley Smith. It's not a bad start at all from third on the grid for the reigning champion Steve Burgess at his local circuit. The man from Nottingham looking for the lead of the race, but has to tuck him behind. Bradley Smith has tried to go all the way around the outside from fourth on the grid. Goes Harry Cockle, a fantastic start from Harry, who took a sabbatical last year. He was a front runner in this championship back in 2015, and well, he's back with a bounce. He's hot on the heels of the race 1 winner as they all propel themselves downhill through the Crater curves and through the old hairpin for the first time. A very, very full grid of cars this weekend for the opening weekend in the 2017 Radical Challenge Championship. Bradley Smith looking to do already what he did in race number 1, which is build an advantage in the early stages. However, it certainly looks as though Harry Cockle in second place, Steve Burgess in third, have other ideas about that, because the top 3 are just starting to break away now from Oliver Barker, who finished second in the race earlier on but is off the podium places, fourth at the moment. There goes car number 61. That's Christian Jeffrey, all the way from Barbados to race with us this weekend. But the top 3 starting to pull away. The squabble for fourth is on, by the look of things, as Rupert Svensson-Cook is starting to give Oliver Barker in fourth position a thing or two to think about. Everybody's safely through the first lap already, though. The margin's starting to build, and certainly for Oliver Barker, he really is under pressure, isn't he? Car number 7, Rupert Svensson-Cook, hugely experienced, looking to try and bear down on the number 22 car. And given any opportunity, will try and take fourth place away. Running wide is Oliver Barker, and that's the opportunity for Rupert Svensson-Cook. That's exactly what he needed. Sweeps his way through on the run through Hollywood and down through the Crater curves, and now is up into fourth place. And Oliver Barker, runner-up earlier on today, is now down into fifth position. Any more mistakes may well cost him dear, because he's got cars still queuing up behind him at this stage. Through McLean's corner they'll go. The next of the cars that's looking to try and work its way through is going to be Tom Harvey, who hasn't quite as yet been able to unlock the door to what is fifth position. And also now, because they're holding each other up, it's bringing the orange car into it as well. That's Jack Lang, who was the runner-up in last year's championship at the wheel of car number 2, former single-seater driver. Oliver Barker having a busy race at this stage. Locked brakes from Tom Harvey as he tries to get the car anchored up. Turns his way through the Roberts chicane. Over the start-finish line they'll go. And all of the time you can see that disappearing into the distance is Bradley Smith. So Bradley Smith leads. Harry Cockle in second place, Steve Burgess there in third place. Fourth place is going to be the car in the hands of Rupert Svensson-Cook. And then this battle for 5th, 6th and 7th position, which is still being headed by the blue and white number 22 car of Oliver Barker. And he's got a bit of breathing space for the moment, because I would suggest that Tom Harvey's attentions are now being turned towards that orange car that sits directly behind him, that being Jack Lang. So Tom Harvey hanging on to what is 6th position at the moment. Jack Lang is there in 7th place. Through McLean's corner yet again they'll go. All of the time looks as though Tom Harvey is pressing on, just raising the dust on the exit of the corner. So hard is he trying. Further back down through the order, Dominic Jackson, number 4, former Formula BMW champion over in Germany and Super League driver. Great to see him out. He's got a queue of cars sitting behind him. That includes the car of Brian Murphy, the man from the northeast. As we look back towards the charging Jack Lang, not as yet has he been able to catch right up onto terms with Tom Harvey, so he hasn't as yet been able to work his way through. And you can see all of the time that the gaps at the front are just beginning to string out now a shade more. It's further down through the order where we've got the big squabbles going on. And here up towards us now comes Brian Cordwell. He's under huge pressure from John McLeod. Those two heading round through Redgate corner, as our race leader is already down and into the old hairpin. So the top half a dozen through. Further down through the order, it looks as though Gary Patterson has got his hands rather full. That's Barry Liversidge, who's able to sweep his way around the outside. So Liversidge gaining a place. A car just running off the road ahead of him, I think, may well have been the car of David Frankland. But it is this man here, car number 21, Bradley Smith, that is looking to try and extend the advantage that he built early on in the race. Further down through the order, there's still some good squabbles on going towards the tail end of the order. Not least of which, by the look of things, is still the car of number 61, Christian Jeffrey. There he goes through shot, tucked up behind somebody, looking to try and squeeze his way through. Leading pack of cars through the Roberts chicane. Jack Lang still hanging on to a place down towards the bottom of the top 6 at the moment. And you can see over the start-finish line now, in fact, Jack Lang in 7th place at the moment. Then a gap back. 8th place is where we see number 14, John McLeod, and then a queue of cars thereafter, which is Brian Caldwell has got tucked right up behind him, Dominic Jackson's black car. Then you've got Brian Murphy, and not that too far away is the next of the cars just going through, which I think is probably going to be Marcello Maritiotto. So this train of cars sweeping their way down through the Craner curves. Barry Liversidge has a look at the inside of David Franklin heading in towards Redgate Corner and is able to squeeze the number 6 car through. So knocking on the door of a top 20 place now is Barry Liversidge. So great fights all the way down through the bottom of the order, whilst this man is out front and leading, number 21. That being Bradley Smith, 3 times a Radical champion. Of course, he won the European Radical Championship, pulling away from the number 3 car of Harry Cockle, this red and yellow car, who, by the look of things, is coming under a bit more pressure now from the champion from last year, Steve Burgess, the man from Nottingham at his local circuit, starting to try and close in. Elsewhere down through the order, Rupert Svensson-Cook hangs on to 4th place, but is under pressure going through the back markers from Oliver Barker, whilst this man here now has cleared the traffic and can concentrate fully on the road ahead. Claimed the first victory of the season, on course for victory number 2. Still a long way to go, though, in this second sprint race of the weekend. As further down through the order, here is Brian Caldwell, still under pressure from the black number 4 car of Dominic Jackson, who needs to defend at the same time. He's got 57, that being Brian Murphy right behind him. And Brian Murphy has Marcello Maritiotto behind as well, so it's all rather busy. Well, there is number 64. That's Tom Harvey. Ahead of him is Rupert Svensson-Cook. So did Oliver Barker go through? Yes, he has. Out of sight somewhere, up to 4th place once more, comes the man who started from the outside of the front row of the grid. So Oliver Barker's in 4th, Rupert Svensson-Cook in 5th. That car there in 6th place. Tom Harvey raising the dust yet again on the exit of McLean's Corner. So Oliver Barker will be pleased, I would have thought, that at least he gained 1 place, but having bottled up behind Rupert Svensson-Cook for a lap or so. Now that he's been released, he's instantly pulling away by the look of things, but time has been lost in the early stages of this one. A lot of work to do if he wants to catch the trio that lie ahead for 1st, 2nd and 3rd and find himself on the podium. Over the start-finish line comes number 22, Oliver Barker. He sits there in 4th, Rupert Svensson-Cook in 5th place. Then it's the red and black car, number 64 of Tom Harvey. As down through the Craner curves come the leading trio once more. The gap between 2nd and 3rd is certainly closing up. Steve Burgess mounting a challenge here, I would suggest, in the next lap or so. The rest of the top 6 go through. The orange car, Jack Lang, still there in 7th place. As elsewhere down through the order, it all looks rather busy to say the least. That's Mark Crader under pressure from the number 80 car, which is sitting right on his coattails. That's Peter Tyler. Can't miss Peter's car. Dark with its Dayglow livery. Nice and easy to spot, is he? He's involved in a super little battle all the way down through the order. This is going to be mid-teens that they're fighting for. Peter Tyler having to attack and defend at the same time, whilst he's got not that far behind him also Elliot Goodman, car number 28, off and into the gravel trap. That is a very wide moment for Tom Harvey coming out of Coppice Corner. He should be able to rally across his way back onto the circuit, rejoins on the circuit. All crumbs just in front of John McLeod. So he's rather enthusiastic, Tom Harvey, trying to get back onto circuit. No harm done, but just places lost, unfortunately, as, by the look of things, Harry Cockle, without question, is being caught by the reigning champion, number 1, Steve Burgess, through the right-hander at Redgate. And then they start to plummet downhill through Hollywood, down through the sweeping right and left fast section of Craner curves, through the very fast right-hander at what is the old hairpin. And as for Tom Harvey, well, he has recovered. He's recovered to come back on circuit just ahead of Dominic Jackson. So that's going to be something like 6th and 7th, I would suggest, at the moment. As through McLean's Corner comes our race leader, car number 21, Bradley Smith, still pressing on, the former Sunoco Challenge winner. And there is that Oliver Barker going slowly in the background there? All of a sudden, I thought I saw the number 22 car slowing up coming out of McLean's Corner. The leading 3 have gone through. Here comes our race leader, Bradley Smith. And for Bradley, he is now well and truly on course to make it the double here. There's still a bit of work to do as he comes over the start-finish line, but you can see the amount of daylight he's got between himself and the red and yellow car of Harry Cockle, who's doing a great job in 2nd place, but the amount of daylight is diminishing. He's also got to lap the car of David Franklin before too much longer. And I doubt he'll be able to do that on the run in towards Redgate. It will be on the exit of the corner where he should be able to squeeze his way through and past David Franklin. In fact, down through the Craner curves they come. Harry Cockle looking to try and put a lap on the light blue and red number 91 car. Squeezes his way up the inside on the approach in towards the old hairpin. So job done as far as Harry Cockle is concerned. Now Steve Burgess needs to do the same. Further down through the order, car number 61 Christian Jeffrey, all the way from Barbados to race with us this weekend, has a quick look up the inside of Brian Murphy, then runs wide on the exit of Redgate Corner. Won't cost him a great deal of time, but he's now fallen away from Brian Murphy and has to try and work his way back onto his coattails again if he wants to stand any opportunity of gaining another position. They'll be fighting away for what is 9th and 10th at this stage of the race, as second and third is definitely getting closer. Harry Cockle, without question, is being caught, not by huge amounts per lap, but lap after lap after lap. The reigning champion, number 1, Steve Burgess, is edging up onto the coattails of Harry Cockle and is now going to start to pick up a bit of the slipstream from the car ahead. Of course, getting closer is good in one respect, but these cars are hugely aerodynamic. That then means he sits in the dirty air and might just need to ease off a bit, otherwise he might overwork the tyres towards the tail end of the race. They've also got traffic as well that may well come into play before the end of this race. Down through the Craner curves they thread their way yet again, as over the start-finish line now comes car number 18 starting to make progress. That's Sean Byrne, former Caterham racer, raced in the British GT Championship last year. He's just picked the pocket, by the look of things, of Brian Murphy and has moved the number 18 car up inside the top 8. Down through the Craner curves they will work their way, and as they're doing that, we've got some great little fights going on further down through the order, including this one here. Car number 80, Peter Tyler, fighting away with the number 14 car of John McLeod. They are squabbling over positions within the mid-teens at this stage. And as you can see, they're just threading their way through the top section of the Craner curves. The next of the battle's just heading round through the old hairpin. So wherever you look on what is a beautiful day here at Donington Park, there are fights going on down through the order. Number 4, Dominic Jackson, now coming under pressure from Marcelo Maritiotto. That's for the final place inside the top 6. The former single-seater racer just managing to hang on to the place at this stage, and this is for the final 2 podium places. Number 3, which is Harry Cockle, that great start when the lights went out, moving himself from 4th on the grid up to 2nd, and a place that he hasn't relinquished as yet despite the pressure race long from Steve Burgess. Steve has never quite been close enough. Here is the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th position. Number 4, Dominic Jackson, coming under pressure from Marcelo Maritiotto. The charging car of Sean Byrne not that far behind, and equally as much number 57, the largely red car but with its yellow and white flashes of Brian Murphy, looking to try and regain a place, having just lost one a lap or so ago. So that quartet head down through the Craner curves. There's also traffic not that far up the road from them as well, so Dominic Jackson can't really afford to get caught through the slower traffic. As by the look of things, here is Harry Cockle in second place without question now. The reigning champion, number 1, Steve Burgess, has closed the gap yet further between the two of them. Onto the brakes, through the right and the left flicks at Robert Chicane. They work their way over the start-finish line. They've got traffic just up the road. That's number 55, Joe Watts, that might come into play, not at the early part of this lap, but certainly at the latter part of it. And for Harry Cockle, he can't afford to really be compromised by the slower traffic. I'm sure the marshals will do a sterling job, wave the blue flags and forewarn Joe Watt that the front runners are bearing down on him. And for Harry Cockle, there's still work to be done here. He would dearly like to finish in second place. He was off the podium earlier on in 12th position in the first race of the weekend. Let's see what he might be able to do in this one. It's been a great race for him so far, but he's still got the reigning champion, Steve Burgess, right behind him. Further down through the order, this is number 5, Jason Redding, fighting away with Konstantin Gukiev and Mark Richards, who had to make his way up from 27th on the grid, Mark Richards. So he's starting to go well now. He's got himself inside the mid-teens at this stage. Here are the 2 cars fighting over 2nd and 3rd once more. Oliver Barker still with Steve Burgess not that far behind, still with traffic up the road as well, raising the dust coming out of the Robert Chicane. That time was Steve Burgess. Joe Watt, number 55, about to be lapped by this pair and moves neatly out of the way. So good driving by Joe, keeps well and truly out of the way of the squabble for 2nd and 3rd position. And for Harry Cockle, he can breathe a relative sigh of relief, I would have thought there. Wasn't compromised by the traffic, met it in the right place as well, i.e. on the straight. And now he can concentrate his efforts fully on propelling the car as quickly as possible through the old hairpin. Back up towards the conclusion of another lap. Number 4, Dominic Jackson, still under pressure from Marcelo Maritiotto. Marcelo Maritiotto still got Shane Byrne not too far behind. And then, of course, Brian Murphy. So that little quartet still in the same order that they were. The amount of daylight between them all looks roughly the same as well. And Elsewhere, we've still got John McLeod, number 14, fighting away with Peter Tyler. He's got the inside line, though, this time and squeezes his way through, gains the place there. So, position gained for what was the number 14 car of John McLeod. As over the start-finish line, about to start the final lap of the race, comes our race leader. So a lap is put on the number 19 car of Gary Patterson, and Bradley Smith is now just, 2 miles away from back-to-back victories to open up his 2017 Radical Challenge Championship campaign. It's not all settled, though, for second and third, that is for sure, because Harry Cockhill still has work to do here. Steve Burgess just running a little bit wide coming out of Redgate Corner, so hard is he trying. But for our race leader, it looks as though he's built, the best part of 2.5, 3 seconds is the advantage between himself and the squabbling pair behind. So barring any mistakes or problems, it does look as though it's a double victory for Bradley Smith at Donington Park this weekend. Up towards McLean's, through the right-hander for the final time. Maybe a little bit more traffic to play with over the course of the latter part of this lap, but he's got the advantage. He can just afford to take his time through the traffic as he presses on round through Coppice Corner, the double aplex blind entry right-hander. And all he's now got to do is get onto the brakes through the right and left flicks at Robert Chicane, and it is going to be another win for Bradley Smith. Onto the brakes, through the right, through the left. The Mectec Motorsport Radical SR3 comes through and claims its second victory of the weekend here. Harry Cockhill in second place, and a charging Steve Burgess, who ran very wide coming out of Roberts and almost had a moment, will finish in third position. But Harry Cockhill certainly had to press on even on that final lap, because Steve Burgess, the reigning champion, was hugely keen to finish in what was third position. We await the arrival of the fourth place car. It should be Jack Lang that comes through in fourth place, but for this man here, Bradley Smith, he is going to be hugely delighted with what has been a solid start to the weekend at Donington Park, and of course a solid start to his season as well. Dominic Jackson, the black car, will just finish in sixth position, but look at the queue of cars that sat just behind him. So confirmation of the results then. Car number 21, Bradley Smith, claims the win. Double win for him so far this weekend. Second is number 3, Harry Cockhill. In third is the defending champion, Steve Burgess. Jack Lang, Tom Harvey and Dominic Jackson finished 4th, 5th and 6th, and completing the top 10 with Marcelo Maraggiotto, Sean Bird, Brian Murphy and Christian Jeffrey. The drivers making their way to the podium. Steve Burgess finishing in third position. Second place to Harry Cockhill, who missed out on the podium places earlier on, but it will be a highly delighted Bradley Smith. 2 out of 2 for him so far this weekend. Let's hear from the winner.
I was just quite lucky that Steve got boxed in, really. And then, yeah, from that point on, just tried to focus on going forward and focusing what's in front.
15 months of not really doing, well, I haven't sat in the car 15 months, signing this contract in February and coming out and hoping this is going to be a good first round is, yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. Second step of the podium. You've got more to do.
Yeah, a little bit more. Obviously we're into the endurance race now. 2 years ago, myself and my brother obviously did the endurance championship and win numerous races, so we know what we're doing in that.
Just Steve, Bradley was saying it was good that you were boxed in at the start. Yeah, there's 2 sides to this. It wasn't so good for you.
No, definitely not. No, I launched it off the line again and then I had to get straight out the front fairly quick. I just came across and then, unfortunately, that allowed Harry to come out the outside of me and go round.
Right, an overview of the day so far?
No, I don't want a third next time.
No.
Something good better.
Yeah, okay, at least one step.
Definitely.
Yeah, top man. Thank you, Steve.